Live from Uniondale, Long Island. It's the NSCHAA High School Boys Basketball right here from Kellenberg Memorial High School. And today, the Holy Trinity Titans will come up and face the Kellenberg Firebirds in a really important league battle. It's the Hospital for Special Surgery Game of the Week with Matt Shortis. I'm Dan Savarino. Amanda Puglisi will join us momentarily. Well, this may be the year that has the most parity in NSCHAA in a very long time, Matt. And we're seeing Kellenberg come back. Of course, Holy Trinity's always been in that conversation, but there's a lot of teams up top. Yeah, right now, Chaminade is the only unbeaten team in the league. Everybody else is kind of jumbled up at 3-2 or 2-3. Right now, these two teams at 3 and 4 in the standings, respectively. Holy Trinity at 3-2, Kellenberg at 2-2. So as we near the second part of this conference season, some of these teams are going to have to start to create some separation, and they both hope it starts tonight. Holy Trinity known for their backcourt, and they're led by Mike Smith, who is a family guy coming through this program. Yeah, Holy Trinity always seems to have one of the top guys in the CHSAA, and this year it's Mike Smith, averaging over 21 points a game. He could stroke it from beyond the arc, but he can go inside as well. And not only that, he's an excellent rebounding guard. Look at that, over 6 rebounds per game. He's a guy that's always in the middle of what they do offensively. Well, the Firebirds have a little more size down low, but in order to use that size and be able to shoot the basketball, you need someone like Sean Lackman to get it going. Yeah, and Lackman has a specialty, and that specialty is shooting from beyond the arc. He's over 43% from 3, and then when he is on, it just opens things up for the rest of this Kellenberg offense. You can see 15 points a game for the 2-year starter for Kellenberg. He's a guy that's taken a leap in that year too. So that's where we are. It's Holy Trinity visiting Kellenberg in an anticipated battle here from Kellenberg Memorial High School. Stay with us when we come back to the starting lineup and the opening tip. It's the Hospital for Special Surgery Game of the Week. And welcome back to News 12 Varsity in the Hospital for Special Surgery Game of the Week. Dan Savarino, Matt Shortis, and Amanda Puglisi here from Uniondale, Long Island. Real good NSCHAA battle upcoming, and this should be an absolute fun one, Matt. We now send it down to the third member of our team, who's Amanda Puglisi.
Well, Dan, this has certainly been an interesting week for both teams. When you look at Holy Trinity, like most schools in the area, this is their midterm week. So when you talk to Coach Conifrey, he says, listen, this week we decided to have shortened practices, and it's kind of good. He says he certainly welcomed the shortened practices because you really need a nice change of pace. You need to let some guys rest, get healthy. There's a lot of film, shortened practices, but certainly the intensity was there. Kellenberg, on the other hand, guys, they were on a retreat. No basketball was played, but certainly, as the coaching staff said, this was an opportunity for all of us to really just bond with one another.
And now our national anthem. A beautiful rendition from Chrisnell Pascal, a senior who's heading to Berkeley School of Music. As Kellenberg Memorial High School hosting the Holy Trinity Titans, we'll take a look at their starting lineup. 10-6 overall, 3-2 in conference play at the moment. And this is a very guard-heavy starting lineup, Matt. Not a lot of size out there, but a good backcourt that can shoot.
Yeah, you have Six Smith and you have Tim Kiggins. Those guys can put it in the basket. And Mark Roberts, is the primary forward. He's going to have his hands full tonight with Nick Spinoza inside for Kellenberg.
Now the Firebirds, a little more size down low in the paint for them. Those two forwards of Wilson and Spinoza, those are big bodies down low. Blackman, Baraski, Bull. This is a group that has a little bit of experience because they played last year on a team that only won 7 games. Will already surpass that now. They have that experience under their belt, and now they're ready to go and to compete in this very, very competitive conference this year.
Yeah, Jack McCutcheon, who you see there, the head coach of Kellenberg, talked about these guys taking their lumps last year as first-year guys, as juniors, and gaining that experience. He's experienced as well, 13th year as head coach. They've won 4 regular season crowns. Haven't been the team to get off the island in the tournament time, but some experience from that side of things.
These are two of the longest tenured head coaches in NSCHAA up to this point, both of them in year number 13, as Matt, you just alluded to before. This is going to be one of those games that can be decided whether the post play ends up working out so well for Kellenberg, but Holy Trinity very comfortable playing against bigger teams and actually did a pretty good job against the size of Chaminade.
Yeah, that was a tight game, close game. Trinity has had some injury issues at points, so they're starting to get healthy. Hoping to create a little separation here tonight, as we talked about a few minutes ago.
So Spinoza and Roberts will take the opening tip. Kellenberg in their home whites, tops and bottoms, trimmed in blue. Holy Trinity in their greens and white numbers. 8 minutes on the clock. We're underway as the Titans get the first possession. This is Tim Kiggins, who feeds it inside to Roberts. Six Smith catch and shoot from the corner. It's good.
Well, Joe Conifrey said if things are going well for Trinity, you'll know early on because they move the ball around, they get the extra pass. Well, good ball movement on the first offensive series for Holy Trinity.
And the Titans coming out already in a trap, a miss on a tray from Lackman. They get a fresh 35 and a long rebound.
A great job by Dan Wilson to tap that out.
Here's Sean Bull, the main ball carrier, and passed over to Dan Wilson. Wilson, you might know his name from the AA championship football team this past year. So 0 for 2 start from the fields for Kellenberg.
Not high percentage shots again. These guys really haven't played. They've barely practiced this week as well.
Yeah, very interesting week for both of these groups. You don't hear it very often when you have a couple of teams that really don't get the same kind of week. It's the toughest time every year, as we heard before from Coach Conifrey with the midterms. But the retreat that Kellenberg goes on is something that has been going on for 8 years, and they don't touch a basketball for about 3 days.
And they left up towards the New Paltz area Tuesday morning, came back Thursday. Had a light walkthrough Thursday when they got back, and here we are Friday. They've got both these teams have another game here tomorrow.
Driving in is Spinoza, and is going to be a foul, offensive. Well, check that. It is offensive foul called against Spinoza, his first.
Holy Trinity, if they want to get to 4-2 in the conference tonight, got to win the backcourt. We talked about the size advantage inside for Kellenberg. So Holy Trinity, they've got to take advantage where they're strong, finish possessions, and the size advantage. What size advantage? If they can shoot from outside, it kind of negates the size inside for Kellenberg.
Sharing the basketball, and we've seen them, every guy basically getting a touch. Here's Roberts inside of the paint. Right-handed layup, or a little sky bunny, and doesn't fall.
You know, Dan, for as much as we're talking about the Kellenberg size advantage, Holy Trinity has gotten some really good opportunities in the paint. They haven't put the ball in the basket, but 3 really high percentage shots down low so far.
You always wonder with those game plans, and something that Coach McCutcheon brought up to us. He said, hey, listen, Joe knows us as well as we know them. We know that's going to happen. We're hoping we have a couple little things to correct. And there's going to be a foul on the floor here against Holy Trinity.
For Kellenberg, as we look at their keys, you got to control the paint. Nick Spinoso, 16 points a game. He's their big go-to guy, along with Lackman that we talked about. Match the toughness. Even though Holy Trinity doesn't have the height, they are always a very tough blue-collar lunch pail type team, and they got to defend the perimeter. Mike Sixsmith and the others out on the arc can shoot the ball.
That was Kellenberg picking up his first pass off the hands of Spinoso. The long 6'7" forward for Kellenberg.
Well, we talked about the potential rust factor for Kellenberg at a turnover last offensive possession, offensive foul the one before that. So they've been a little slow out of the gate here in the first quarter.
Both teams coming off losses last time they played. Spinoso gets the rock back, slings it outside. Lackman for three. And tie ball game.
Well, that's what Lackman does. 43% from beyond the arc. About as good as they come in the CHSAA.
Dropped 16 in their loss against St. Dom's this past weekend. In this jam-packed conference, Chaminade is the only unbeaten team. A.J. Knight with the response on a three ball.
So nothing inside the perimeter yet. We've had 3 made shots the first 3.5 minutes, everything from outside.
Jump pass, working it to Lackman. This time going inside the lane, nothing there. And the rebound from Roberts. Sixsmith, catch and shoot too long.
I'll tell you though, right now this game is favoring Holy Trinity in terms of pace. They're pushing pressure defensively, making Kellenberg push the action a little bit more than they might like to.
Spinoso loses the basketball. Up ahead to A.J. Knight, who ends up pulling it back in. Kellenberg, now Knight, straight away, cash. Well, it's flying threes here in the first quarter, and Holy Trinity's up by 6.
2 from A.J. Knight. Mike Sixsmith started off the game, but they're 3 for 5 from beyond the arc.
Near side, Lackman penetrates. And pulling up is Bull. Spinoso trying to use that advantage down low. Nothing there as they double him up. Well, they have been right on top of Spinoso so far, Matt.
Well, there's not been a ton of spacing offensively for Kellenberg just yet.
Sixsmith underneath the hoop, and Spinoso heaves a pass out. Wilson. And they're gonna call a block.
Joe Conifrey, a little surprised by that. Wilson looked like he lowered the shoulder. You know, you talked about his abilities on the football field. He looked like he was going for contact there.
Kellenberg picking up his team second. And that will put Dan Wilson at the stripe. Well, last time out, barely played. The group was a little banged up this past week, and actually going to say it's on the floor. So it'll just be an inbound upcoming. But Wilson called the heart and soul of this Kellenberg group. Not the most elegant you will see, but will be there every single play. And he has a good future ahead. He'll be playing football. Actually, excuse me, he'll be playing lacrosse. And after prepping at the Naval Academy, he'll eventually go to the Naval Academy. Go to Naval Academy Prep in Rhode Island first. Wilson straight away. Front iron, back iron. Spinoso with the carom.
Well, that just shows you the sheer size advantage that Spinoso has over anybody else on the Trinity roster.
Brasky to Bowl. Puts it on the floor and loses it, and then eventually a foul is called against Kellenberg. And it will be Bull picking up his first.
I mean, if Spinoso does that to somebody his size, that's an over-the-back foul. But he had so much height advantage. Meanwhile, Kellenberg's got to find a way to take care of the basketball. Already 4 turnovers so far in the first quarter. Inside 3 minutes, only 1 made field goal.
Knight to the corner, Rivers, who just came on. Comes up a little bit short. He's a solid shooter himself. Every bucket made today has been from beyond the perimeter. This one a long two, no good. Roberts pulls it in and then tries to go between the wickets of Bowl. Kick ball.
So here's the trap of Joe Conifrey's team is looking at right now. Of course, they've made three-point field goals, but as this quarter's gone on, they're starting to settle a little bit. They've had some decent looks at threes, but they're not looking for anything inside just yet, as Spinoso's checks out of the game.
A little frustrated he was going off as well. Be replaced by Jake Cosgrove, a junior, who averages 8 off the bench. Smith, the miss on the 3. Brasky up to Bowl on the left. 90 seconds to play here in the opening quarter from Kellenberg. Cosgrove on the handoff. Blackman slings it over. Bowl, no good.
Best look, though, that Kellenberg has had. Offensive foul. Nice job by Brasky to come over and draw the charge.
That'll be Smith picking up his first. That is just a tough-nosed play to angle him off into the near side of the court. Now Kellenberg needs to put some points on the board. They work against this man-to-man. Wilson. Brasky in front of the Holy Trinity bench. Under a minute to go. Cutting inside is Bowl, but too strong with the left.
Great cut and nice pass as well.
Rivers dashes right across the lane. They'll work it back outside. Here's Roberts on the mid-block. Crossover from Rivers. Loses a handle. Still has plenty of time on the clock. Three-pointer, nothing but net. That's E.J. Knight, and he has 9 here in the first quarter of the 12 points scored. Timeout, Kellenberg.
Yeah, right now, I mean, if you're Jack McCutcheon, you're looking at basically an entire quarter has gone by and your team has scored only 3 points. A lot of times throughout this quarter, things have looked very condensed, very clogged in the painted area. They had some good ball movement on that last possession, couldn't capitalize on an open 3, and then they draw the charge, get the ball back, and a great backdoor cut, but again, couldn't get the ball in the basket. Things are looking better, but they got to find a way to finish their offensive sets.
And when you look at the upcoming schedule, there's a lot of conference games. It's not this point of the season. They got the Karate Classic here tomorrow. Holy Trinity will actually play here as well. It'll be Spelman, and then eventually all those teams, you know, you want to try and avenge some of those losses. And something that Jack McCutcheon brought up to us before, he thinks it's harder to win the regular season title than win the actual playoff.
I mean, if you're one of the top seeds and you get a bye to the semifinals, you got to win 2 games. And we've seen teams go on sort of unprecedented runs. I mean, St. Anthony's was not one of the top 2 seeds last year when they won. Spinoso checking back into the game.
Spinoso got stripped. A chance at the buzzer and just comes up short. A.J. Knight exactly from midcourt and a good look at the hoop. Well, it's nothing but 3 balls here. 12-3 lead for Holy Trinity on the road. It's the Hospital for Special Surgery Game of the Week. The #1 hospital for orthopedics with locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. HSS Game of the Week and nothing but 3-pointers here for Holy Trinity, Matt.
Well, A.J. Knight has been the key guy in that equation right now. He averages 15 a game. He's got 9 in the first quarter. All 3 of his made field goals coming from that comfort spot right side of the arc. Kellenberg's got to find a way to get some offense moving.
Titans have led the entire way. Here's Brasky. Goes to the cup, kicks it out. Blackman, no good. And Jalen Rivers bringing it the other direction.
Nice job defensively to get back on Smith.
Roberts puts it in. Well, first time we've seen a 2 today, but the lead is now 11.
Yeah, not to belabor the point. Again, this team in Kellenberg, they've not practiced, touched the basketball in a few days. And they look a little disorganized at the moment. Spinoso came over to help defensively on the perimeter, left his man Roberts. Nice job recognizing, and Roberts was wide open underneath.
And this group from Holy Trinity did lose pieces, including Tyler Small last year. He was the player of the year inside of the conference, over 1,000 points. Group that last year is bringing back some guys who, again, couldn't really see a lot of time on the floor because of those seniors. And now Spinoso uses that size advantage and lays it in with the left.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen Kellenberg go to the pick and roll tonight, executed it well.
Top of the key jumper, Sixsmith, no. Rasky and now Bull.
Looking for it again.
There it is. Spinoso back to back.
Yeah, well, Spinoso seemed a little frustrated, a little lost in the first quarter, but get him a couple touches, high post. And Spinoso, you saw right after that, pulled up on the right hamstring. He's still in the game, though. We'll keep an eye on him.
A player who definitely has college aspirations. Roberts again to the cup, extending the lead.
Well, in this quarter, Holy Trinity has done a really good job of sucking Spinoso out from Roberts so that Roberts had a mismatch and exploiting that.
Bounce pass down low, looking for Lackman. Jump ball will be the call. And the possession in favor of Holy Trinity. So Kellenberg offensively starting to look a little more comfortable out there. But you really don't want to start getting into a track meet with this group from the Titans.
Yeah, as we've seen in the first quarter, they've got guys who can stroke it from deep. Knight among them, Sixsmith.
And there is Sixsmith at the left block. His two older brothers were the twins on the last team that won the state title back in 2014. And they're both seniors at Baruch.
And they beat a good St. Mary's team in the Nassau-Suffolk. Part of that run.
That's got to be tough for anybody. Being compared, obviously, to your older brother, and you had two brothers who are very good basketball players. Coach Confrey telling us he has a little bit of both. Here's a chance for Kiggins. Bounce pass, Sixsmith. Sharing the wealth.
Nice look from Kiggins. Really easy for him to have just gone right up with that. And now Holy Trinity is really putting the pressure on. 6-0 run for the Titans right now.
Largest lead today. Look at this ball movement for three. Rattles out. Cosgrove into the paint. Rasky. Spinoso, nobody there. Misses the first attempt, offensive board, and gets fouled.
I think he was so open, he didn't know what to do with himself. He went up expecting some contact that never came. Nice pass. So we've seen a lot of opportunities for both sides where whoever the big is, they come over to help out defensively and nobody's sliding over to adjust. So it's been Spinoso for Kellenberg and it's been Roberts for Holy Trinity. They both had some really nice looks in this second quarter as a result of those defensive lapses. Spinoso, all 5 points for Kellenberg in this second quarter.
Team's leading scorer and rebounder, 16 and 12 a contest is what he averages. And he's perfect at the charity stripe, so brings the deficit back to 11.
They trailed by 9 at the quarter break.
Knight planks it off the iron.
Jalen Rivers getting his first action of the day in the second half of the rebound, but couldn't hold on to it.
Cosgrove from the corner. Back to single digits.
Boy, did they need that. Solid 3 guy, big 3-and-D guy. How about Spinoso setting up that 3?
A junior who last year was the second leading scorer on their JV squad. Has worked in very nicely to this group on the varsity level. Sixsmith, oh, what vision. Hits Kiggins, who comes up short.
Spinoso being much more aggressive on the boards now. Sixsmith with the takeaway.
Right to the rack, and lays it in, saying, no, I'm putting that one home.
He's up to 9 now in this first half, tied for team high honors with A.J. Knight.
The junior out of Plainview, New York. Lackman at the stripe. And they get right on top of Cosgrove. With the screen, Spinoso back inside. Lackman misses with the right hand.
You know, when you're trailing, those are the opportunities you gotta cash in on.
Now, Kellenberg has missed a couple of pretty good layups here tonight. And then some other empty-handed possessions via the turnover. Stop and pop from the mid-block, no good. As A.J. Knight misses, ball goes back to Kellenberg.
Sean Wilcox will come in for the first time this evening. A sophomore. Jack McCutcheon is really high on him. That gives Spinoso a little bit of a spell.
He liked his game against St. Dom's, even though it was a loss. But the minutes he played with some banged up bodies. Wilson in a double team. And here's the foul. It's going to go against Knight.
But those are those near makes that you were talking about, Dan. Kellenberg's been right around the basket, but some of those shots haven't fallen.
This is the first.
There's Dan Wilson, we talked about him, 3-sport athlete, captain for multiple years. As this was sort of a young team last year.
So an 0 for 2 trip keeps it at a 10-point lead for Holy Trinity. 2.5 to play here in the first half. Jalen Rivers behind his back, straight to the rack. That was too easy.
Oh, what a nice move from Rivers, knifing down the paint. Running back on the football team, he's used to working in tight spaces.
It's Margison who picks up his first.
Again, look at Rivers behind the back dribble. Mismatched defensively, being D'd up by Wilcox. Got the step on him and right to the hoop.
So Kellenberg now in the bonus. And that puts Cosgrove at the stripe for a 1-and-1. And misses it.
Well, it looked like it from here where we're sitting, it looked like it had gone off Holy Trinity.
And they'll change the call.
Yep. Kellenberg missing their last 3 free throws.
Knight to Roberts. AJ last season, 10 points per game. One of the couple of guys who started on this group a year ago. Now a 2-year point guard. Wearing the green and white. Sixsmith. Step back, no good. Roberts goes flying, but Wilson brings in the rock.
Nice job by Wilson hauling that in contact.
Bowl with the pump fake. Nobody jumps. Wilson with his right hand lays it inside. And Sean Wilcox. Nice vision from Wilson.
Yeah, that was a beautiful pass. Eyes never glanced that way. A little shovel pass underneath, and Wilcox was ready for it.
And Wilson is a lefty. They've been forcing him to that right hand all night. Roberts gets fouled. He'll shoot a pair.
First tonight on Wilcox, only the third team foul against Kellenberg. Some of that is how perimeter-oriented Holy Trinity's offense has been. They have five made threes in this first half.
Roberts standing 6'6", tallest guy on their roster. And brought up before, Matt, about facing a team like Chaminade, even though they fell, the only unbeaten team. Well, that group from the Flyers, they have three guys who are huge. Drennan, who's 6'9", and Gray, who's another big, long body, 6'3", Park, 6'9", and Roberts did a pretty good job against him. And that tall group, and here they get a steal. Roberts, count the bucket, and the foul.
Boy, that play was all Mark Roberts from the get-go. First coming up with the takeaway from Spinoso, then knowing where the defender was. He goes up, kind of leans into Cosgrove, absorbs the contact, draws the foul. It's strong enough to go up with it, too. 7 points in the first half for Mark Roberts, who played very sparingly last year with all the seniors that were on this squad.
Three-point play the old-fashioned way, 14-point lead, largest tonight, and a minute to go in the half.
8-2 run right now for Holy Trinity.
Another steal and another 2 points, this time A.J. Knight.
He's had a quiet second quarter, but that puts him in 11 points for the evening.
Wilson denied. Who else? Big 24. Mark Roberts having himself a heck of a second frame.
So right now the Holy Trinity bench seems to be arguing because the shot clock went off after that shot was taken, even though it never hit rim. So shot clock is off right now. Kellenberg, based on that, can hold for the final 30 seconds.
And that doesn't matter now. 16-point game. And A.J. Knight has the ball for potentially the final possession of the half. With 10 now. Knight takes the screen up high. Works to his left. Finger roll. Doesn't get the bounce. And that's the end of the opening 20. So Kellenberg made a push in the second quarter, but it's still Holy Trinity. Defense turning into buckets that gives them a 16-point lead at the break. Brought to you by HSS here on News 12 Varsity, the #1 hospital for orthopedics, locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby.
Welcome back to Kellenberg High School for a little bit of a Friday night rivalry matchup in the Catholic League. Holy Trinity, of course, the visiting team, they are leading Kellenberg by a score of 30-14. But let's head on over the George Washington Bridge for a second. Now in South Jersey, that's where Sam Toney's story starts. And as this News 12 New Jersey piece is going to tell us, Toney goes from being homeless to one of the top Division III basketball players in the state.
Basketball has never left Sam Toney's side, but he never planned on it, leading him to New Jersey City University.
Back then, I didn't even think about going to college.
Back then, he was just trying to survive. Growing up in foster homes, he decided to live on his own after graduating high school in 2010. At times, he'd sleep in his car with nowhere to go.
I was worried about being more stable and having a roof over my head. I wasn't worried about playing basketball at college level.
In part because his high school varsity days were short-lived. quitting as a senior and not having any experience before that. But after playing for years in a rec league, he was given an opportunity. Mark Brown is the head coach at NJCU. He heard about Tony from a friend.
I kind of saw his work ethic before he even stepped on the court. He was kind of a student of the game.
The 27-year-old junior is the team's leading scorer. Last year, he was the conference player of the year. As a freshman, he was the conference rookie of the year.
I'm thankful for the opportunity that Coach even gave me to play here, and I try to go out here and show that each and every day.
Sean Tucker was applying to be the next athletic director at the Jersey City School when he came across Tony's story. Tucker says he was sold on the job after that.
You want to have a Sam in every program, every sport.
Tony has found what he'd been searching for, family at NJCU, but also a couple he refers to as step-parents in Marvin and Antoinette Woodson, and a former foster dad who stuck with him in Ronald Price. They try to make it out to his games as he aspires to one day play professionally.
It's a blessing to be here, but to get there will be even a bigger blessing because of everything that I've been through in my situation.
Tony will tell you he's always had faith, and that dream of his is no exception.
Certainly an inspirational story there out of New Jersey. Now, Tony met his step-parents through a friend in his rec league, and he says that when he's done playing basketball, he wants to open up his own security system and his own business there. So good luck to Tony. But guys, don't go anywhere because we have plenty more basketball here for you on Long Island. As we said before, Holy Trinity, the visiting Titans, with a big first half. They'll be taking on Kellenberg. The score currently 30-14. Dan and Matt will be back with more highlights.
And welcome back live on News 12 Varsity to the HSS Game of the Week. Dan Savarino, Matt Shortis, and Amanda Puglisi with you. Well, 16-point lead here at halftime for Holy Trinity over Kellenberg. And Matt, after a first quarter which was so 3-point heavy, what a difference in the second quarter.
Yeah, as we talked about in the first quarter, Holy Trinity getting it started. Mike Sixsmith had the first bucket of the game. It was a low-scoring first quarter at 12-3. That was the only field goal in the first for Kellenberg for Sean Lackman. This guy had it going on in the first. A.J. Knight, 11 points in the first half, 9 of them coming from beyond the arc. But then, as you talked about in the second quarter, guys started to go inside. Roberts and Spinoso trading buckets early on. Holy Trinity's defense would turn into offense as this game went on as well. Jalen Rivers getting in on the act. Nice drive from the top of the key. Feed underneath with Wilcox getting involved for his only basket of the game. But again, Mark Roberts in the defense. Steal, contact, and one. And Trinity has a 16-point lead at halftime.
And at all his points in the second quarter alone, Mark Roberts, 8 points in that second frame, and probably a bunch of other steals during the process. So that was where brings us to a halftime lead of 16 for Holy Trinity over Kellenberg. The Firebirds come out strong in the third. Stay tuned for more on our News 12 Varsity Game of the Week, brought to you by HSS. #1 hospital for orthopedics locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Welcome back to News 12 Varsity HSS Game of the Week. Dan Savarino, Matt Shortis, and Amanda Puglisi with you here on this Friday evening. Thank you so much for joining us. And these guys are happy as well to be out here. Joe Conifrey, 13th year head coach. But Amanda Puglisi had a chance to chat with the head coach of the Firebirds in Jack McCutcheon.
Well, Dan, it was a very simple message that the coaching staff had. They said, hey, listen, we can't keep giving up those three-pointers. That certainly is one of the things that's hurting us, and we need to take care of the ball. We're not executing our game plan, and our turnovers are leading to easy buckets for Holy Trinity. So those are really the two things that this Kellenberg coaching staff would like to see their Firebirds do a little bit better in the second half.
Amanda, there seems to be some hesitation at times with Kellenberg, especially as they're bringing the ball up the floor. Holy Trinity was throwing the press at them early to start the game, and Kellenberg didn't really have too much of an issue with it. But for some reason, as that second quarter went on, Trinity's defense, I don't know if they were more opportunistic, they were more hawkish, ball hawkish, but they definitely created a lot more offense via the defense. So Kellenberg's got to find a way to settle things down, play a little bit calmer, and especially around the basket offensively, they've got to find a way to make the shots and the opportunities that they're granted.
Firebirds come out with their starting lineup as they did to open up the game. Spinoso, Wilson, Bowl, Lackman, and Brasky. They're wearing their white home uniforms trimmed in blue. And Holy Trinity, their starting lineup is exactly the same to start the third quarter as it is the first, with Knight, Sixsmith, Kiggins, Kalimian, and Roberts. Here is Spinoso from the right block, the miss. Bowl underneath, they double team Roberts, and somehow he maneuvers the ball out of harm's way. Sixsmith, catch and shoot from the corner. No good. Roberts, offensive board.
All right, Roberts is everywhere right now.
Rasky pulling it in after a couple of misses for the Titans. Wilson called with a travel as soon as he crossed that lane.
So in the last offensive possession, Spinoso was battling for positioning. Mark Roberts did not give an inch. Finally, Spinoso had to come probably a little bit further out than the basket than he would have liked just to receive the ball, and Roberts didn't make his life comfortable there either. And then down the other end, Roberts hustles down the floor, gets the rebound, and creates another opportunity for Holy Trinity.
Titans have led the entire way up to this point. Sixsmith with the pump fake. Kalimian back outside, Kiggins. So many multi-sport athletes on this group. Nice, Knight missing the baseline runner.
Nice job by Wilson to protect that. He felt the pressure coming from behind. You know, Dan, early second quarter, we saw the pick and roll really working effectively for Kellenberg. They went away from it pretty quickly after that, though. Have not gone back to it yet.
Spinoso from the elbow. No good. Kiggins dropping it off. Roberts, first points here of the third, and he's now in double figures.
Third Holy Trinity score in double figures, joining Knight and Sixsmith. I'll check that Sixsmith has 9.
Knight on the steal. Pull up from 15. Runner falls. 13 points for A.J. Knight.
Well, now a 10-0 run for Holy Trinity going back to that second quarter. And if Kellenberg was looking for a fresh start in the third, it has not come. Trinity scoring the first 2 baskets of the third. And almost 3 minutes into the third here, Kellenberg still looking for their first basket.
And this Firebird group, it has been a while since they were a team that, you know, made some noise deep into the league. This a league that, again, has a lot of parity this year. As every coach, basically, that we have spoken to inside of this conference, share of the regular season title in 16. That's the last time that they won one of the 4 regular season titles. They did it also in 2014. And actually a member of those 16 teams were a couple of current Malloy Lions, the Torrey brothers, Mike and Steven, and also Derek Akampolar. And that brings us to another connection to a friend of ours.
Patty Mack saying hello. Pat McCormick, who's a Holy Trinity alumnus, MSG varsity alumnus, News 12 varsity alumnus.
And currently in the athletic communications department for Malloy College.
So he's a happy Titan right now.
Always a connection.
Seeing Holy Trinity up by 20 at 34-14.
Rasky, the catcher for the baseball team, and hoping to play at the next level in college. Harry pulls back for a 3, flanks it short. Holy Trinity basketball.
I've been saying it since early on, but Kellenberg it's been not quite in sync tonight. And started with the first quarter. Only had 3 points in that quarter. They got a little bit more going in the second with 11. But Trinity has been in a much better rhythm overall this evening. Pressure again.
And get it to Lackman. Jump stop in the lane, got denied.
And Mark Roberts has been so impressive tonight. Here's Sixsmith.
Rattles out.
Now there's a good pocket of Holy Trinity fans here. They were ready to explode if that shot went in for Sixsmith.
That's a group of boys for Kellenberg, and they've come up together. They're a group of boys who really enjoy each other's company. There's a good camaraderie with this team, and even more so after this retreat that they just went on this past week.
Nice pass.
Blackman from the corner, no good. Still looking for their first points of the third.
One of the few miscues for Holy Trinity tonight at travel.
So
Dan, we looked at the schedule for Kellenberg earlier, and both these teams have a quick turnaround. They have the karate tournament here tomorrow. Both teams are participating in that. So for both squads that have had some uneven weeks, if you will, with the midterms at Trinity and the retreat at Kellenberg, chance to kind of get right back into the flow of things.
Wilcox, who just came off the bench, first points, and it took a little more than 4 minutes into the quarter.
This, I think, is an interesting lineup for Kellenberg. You have Wilcox and Spinoso both on the floor together. We didn't see that at all in the first half. And I'm interested to see if one of them kind of frees up the other one offensively. They got to come up with some defensive stops, obviously, in a hole as big as they're in.
Sixsmith sinking the first of two. 89% shooter from the free throw line today.
Now he's in double figures.
11 points in the contest. 20-point lead. Headman Tabraski. There's Wilcox. Banks it in.
Yeah, so far what we've seen through two trips with the two of them in the game at the same time is there's so much attention paid to Spinoso defensively that Wilcox kind of winds up being the open man.
Higgins. Second attempt misses. Spinoso, they'll post up. Haven't done that a ton today, or been able to. Three-pointer, no good from Cosgrove. Fighting for the loose ball. Knight still has the rock. Pull up from the elbow, rattles in.
That's a big 5-point swing for Kellenberg. Basket that could have cut it to 15. Instead, we're looking at a 20-point game.
And another empty-handed possession for Kellenberg.
It's hard to overstate how good Mark Roberts has been tonight.
Oh, what ball movement once again. Sixsmith.
You know, we talked about it after the first possession. How does Joe Conifrey know that it's going to be a good night, or at least might be a good night? His team is moving the ball effectively. Everybody's getting a touch. The extra pass is getting made, and we have seen that all night from Holy Trinity. It's been unselfish play and unselfish play.
They know their strength. It's their backcourt. And a group of guys who can all score. And when you're starting to get that production more than just the top two leading scorers like we're seeing tonight from players like Roberts, just to name one. And Rivers, who has chipped in for a couple of points. Right now it's a three-headed monster for the most part.
I mean, Roberts comes in tonight averaging 2 points a game. He's at 10 this evening. Looks like Cosgrove's getting a talking to from the official. He seemed bewildered.
Brasky, Cosgrove. And Wilson, only 2 on the timer, and 1. They're not going to get this one off in time. Not sure they were aware of the shot clock at that point.
Yeah, inbounding the ball where they did, when they did. Got to be aware of the clock.
Oh, backdoor pass to Roberts. Kellenberg penetrates to the rack. Rattles home his first 2. (12-4). Holy Trinity is outscoring at the moment. Might be another 2. It is. Sixsmith.
Thought that was going to be a kick ball.
It kind of went right off his body, as they thought his chest. Trying to poke away another steal. It's Roberts, and Conifrey is fired up. So is the Holy Trinity bench.
Well, Trinity up by 26. That's not slowing them down, though. They are continuing to put pressure defensively against Kellenberg.
Wilcox, baseline. Nothing there. And he has all 4 points here in the third. Sixsmith for 3. No good. And foul's going to go against Kellenberg here. And that will actually be his 3rd. So timer is off. 32.4 officially on the clock. And Kellenberg desperately needs to put some points before the 4th.
I don't know if I've seen this, though, Dan. That foul against Kellenberg, even though it was his 3rd, it's the 1st against Trinity in the quarter. There's only been 1 against Kellenberg so far in the quarter.
Here he gets the steal. Sixsmith, fancy move, but it won't fall. He had to spin the ball a little bit too much because of his angle. Brasky gets hounded, gets to Wilcox. And all those points scored in the 3rd are to the sophomore. Knight. Kellenberg stepped on the line, still with a 2nd to go.
One and a half left. We'll see if Kellenberg gets a shot off.
Bowl takes a dribble, heaves it up, and no good. So a 24-point lead now for Holy Trinity here on the road. They're just 8 minutes away from closing it out. And the News 12 Varsity Game of the Week brought to you by HSS, #1 hospital for orthopedics. Locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Welcome back to Kellenberg Memorial High School here on a News 12 Varsity Game of the Week brought to you by HSS. Dan Savarino, Matt Shortis, and Amanda Puglisi with you this evening. We thank you so much for joining us wherever you are watching, whether on Channel 61 or on Facebook Live. Well, these Firebirds scored just 6 points here in the 3rd quarter, just 3 in the opening frame. And it's been an issue right now. You need to maybe start looking for some of your young guns, and that's what Wilcox did, the only points here in the 3rd.
Yeah, he got all 6 points in the 3rd quarter for Kellenberg, up to 8 tonight. And it really started to make a bit of a difference for them when he and Spinoso came into the game together. And right now we see just him, Wilcox, that is at the 5 position.
Brasky reaching in. And we'll pick up the 2nd foul here in the 2nd half for Kellenberg. It'll be his 1st. Sixsmith has 15 tonight. Knight, on the other hand, also has 15. And here he takes a foul on a spin move. And Brasky's picking up 2 in the first 13 seconds of the frame.
That might have got bailed out a little bit there. Went into the lane, a little out of control.
And for Holy Trinity, just 2 years removed from their last finals appearance when they fell to Chaminade.
A lot of people thought they would be there last year as well.
Yeah, losing in the semifinals to St. Anthony's who eventually went on to win the championship. Bowl for three, back iron. Long rebound, A.J. Knight has it and weaves his way around, and I think Brasky might be picking up his third. He is.
All in the first 44 seconds of this fourth quarter.
And that will bring it to the bench.
You know, in that last shot for Kellenberg, it's kind of been a story of tonight. They've had some decent looks. When they've had the looks, they've not quite gone down.
So Cosgrove comes in to replace Brasky, and also wearing a different jersey number. Knight, going to be an offensive foul, moving screen. And it's only his first. And 2 years ago, that team that went to the finals, two guys who are now also playing against one another in the CAA, believe it or not, Colonial Athletic Association. Cam Winter, a Drexel after a prep. Norton Small after a prep. Playing for William and Mary. Where do you see the similarities between a two-headed monster of Sixsmith and Knight?
Well, I mean, they both have the ability to obviously put up the shots from beyond the arc. I think, as Coach Conifrey told us, Sixsmith is a bit of a combination between his two older brothers. Like, he can shoot from beyond the arc, but he can also drive to the basket. He's had a nice array of moves around the basket tonight. So he is a complete offensive player, and it shows you why he's averaging over 21 a game.
Holy Trinity will burn a timeout here.
You know, I had the old broadcaster Hex on this game at the end of the third quarter. I commented on the foul situation, and we've had, what, five fouls called in the first minute 18 of this fourth quarter.
Maybe they heard you. You're right on top of the floor.
Very possible. Home fans are a little quiet tonight.
Well, Holy Trinity, of course, we know the conference slate so important here in league. They have McClanty tomorrow here in that Karate Classic, as we alluded to before, but those are some teams there that, listen, they have beaten before. They have tried to avenge some, losses coming up. And there's Athletic Director Chris Hardart on the right. Everyone coming on out. He's not singing and dancing, though.
No, it's very stoic for a 26-point lead. It's very serious.
All business until zeros.
And Friday night, we got the Karate Classic here tomorrow. Again, a really good crowd from the Holy Trinity side has come out as well, right behind the Holy Trinity bench.
Remember, it is midterms week. Kellenberg also did not have school today because of their comps. Three-pointer, Kalimian nicks it right off, and then Rivers fires a bullet playing dodgeball off of Sean Bowl, and that made some of the Trinity fans happy.
It looked like Bowl knew it was coming and then still couldn't quite get out of the way. Rivers threw that thing hard.
Knight, the floater.
Nice touch.
17 for A.J. Knight. Has a lot of interest right now at that Division II, Division III level. He'll be playing somewhere next year. Kalimian with a steal. Straight to the basket, too strong, but also a foul in the process. So he will be shooting a pair of free throws. That is Cosgrove's second. And Kalimian taking a couple of free throws here, 7 points a game, shoots 40% from the field.
You know, Cosgrove wearing a different jersey number in the fourth quarter. We saw him talking to the officials on that inbound play late in the third. Maybe it was something about having blood on his jersey or something to that nature. He had to change his 41 jersey.
2 for 2. Lead up to 30, largest one today. Said that a few times. As the Titans just continuing to extend. Blackman inside. He misses. He's been quiet tonight. Held to just that triple and the only 3 points of the first.
Yeah, then I'd say the last time there was a real threat from Kellenberg in this game was when they cut it to an 8-point lead at 20-12. There were back-to-back baskets from Spinoso on the pick and roll, as we have an offensive foul by Roberts. And it seemed like Kellenberg was starting to find an offensive identity, find an offensive rhythm. It didn't really seem like they tried to go back to the pick and roll after that. Not only that, but Holy Trinity ratcheted up the defense. Mark Roberts really put his stamp on this game. And Kellenberg has never been comfortable since.
And that's what the Trinity defense has been doing all night, making you look and feel uncomfortable. Wilcox. It's an O board, misses the layup, and then Roberts somehow pulls away the rock. Five minutes to go here in regulation. Sharing the ball, Rivers. No good. Spinoso. Hard pass up ahead. Blackman and the layup.
Well, one other thing we've seen from Spinoso tonight is the second he gets a defensive rebound, he's looking to push the ball up the floor. He's had a couple really huge baseball passes.
He's a big man who still averages 4 assists tonight. Oh, nice little spin move here from Mike Sixsmith. He's approaching that 20-point plateau. It has been nothing but hounding defense. Kalimian gets a hand on the ball. Kellenberg has it right back. Fed inside, Spinoso, muscle move to the rack. 8 points for Nick.
Well, Dan, I wonder for Joe Conifrey, you know, with the quick turnaround tomorrow, McClancy here at Kellenberg. When does Joe Conifrey decide to go a little deeper into the bench? With a pretty comfortable lead as we get into the closing minutes here of the fourth.
4 on the timer. Jalen Rivers. Well, it's something that Coach Conifrey was bringing up to us before the game. Our chat with him and with Amanda as well. This is just such a difficult week also in terms of preparation, because there's so many key games still coming up this season inside of the league. How much is too much in terms of preparation with all the games and travel that is added onto it?
Yeah, they had about 3 games in 6 days right before this midterm week. So practices during midterm week, he says he'd rather go short but intense, and then they do a lot of film study as well.
And something that you have to also consider when you go to a Catholic school, you do have to travel to the school. Sometimes, you know, half hour, a little bit more. Not all these guys are from Hicksville or from here in Uniondale or East Meadow, this area. Two and a half to play. Knight. Rivers gets denied underneath by Spinoso.
And the Kellenberg fans who have wanted something positive to cheer about all night long, that gets a rise out of them.
Well, when you're looking at this league right now, Chaminade again sitting atop, undefeated inside of the league. Here's Sixsmith from an impossible angle, and he really banks it in. St. Anthony's is also in the hunt, 3-2. You have Holy Trinity 3-2 and 2 minutes away from their 4th conference win. As Wilson goes hustling, but I'm going to say stepping on the line was one of the Firebirds. I believe it was Wilson. So this is still a league, and St. Dom's gets a win, of course, last week against Kellenberg. St. Mary's is still in the mix. Really, there's 5 teams here, maybe even 6, that can all find themselves in a different position this year, and not just the usual 3 of Holy Trinity, St. Anthony's, and Chaminade.
Though at the moment, that is the top 3. St. Mary's, St. Dom's, Kellenberg trying to crack into that. And as we said, it was pretty jumbled up in the middle of things coming into tonight's action. Trinity was 3-2. They might create a little separation, handing Kellenberg their 3rd loss in conference. But there are opportunities.
Nice move by Cosgrove, the junior.
And if you're in the top 6 as well, once it comes tournament time, you figure you still have an opportunity.
It's all about who gets to play at the MAC, Hofstra University. That is the site for the NSCHAA championship game, and it has been. And what's so cool about playing there is a heck of a move here by Knight.
Hard foul, too. Knight hit the deck hard.
He came down very awkwardly, but okay getting back up.
That came hard across the upper body. Well, Trinity fans can laugh because A.J. Knight getting back up without a problem. You know, we talked about win the backcourt being the key for Trinity tonight. Between Knight and Sixsmith, 39 points between the 2 of them. So more than half the production offensively for Trinity coming from those 2 players.
Kellenberg going to the bench as well. Christian Onyeki steps out on the floor, so does Billy Stockdale. And then a couple of changes as Masco comes onto the floor for Holy Trinity. Rollaire, Margetson, who we saw early on, and still Roberts and Rivers out there.
Dan, I got to update my math. A.J. Knight made that free throw, so 40 points between the 2 of them. Knight and Sixsmith, that is.
And then you add in that tertiary scoring from Roberts and what he did on both sides of the floor tonight. And that is what has led them to this lead.
Roberts was really impressive tonight. Not only what he did offensively with the 10 points, but defensively, Spinoso held to 8 points. Came in averaging 16 a game, so half his season average. And now he'll go out to a nice high five and a hug from Joe Conifrey.
Clanks it off. Buzzer sounds. And Holy Trinity with a 30-point victory here on the road. Did it in oh so many ways. The 3-ball down low, but the backcourt, Matt, that is what was most impressive this evening.
Yeah, we talked about it. A.J. Knight got the game started, had 9 points in that first quarter. Mike Sixsmith adds another 19, 40 combined between those 2 guys and Holy Trinity. We talked about wanting to create separation. Well, they did tonight. A 30-point win for Holy Trinity on the road over Kellenberg. They improved to 4-2 in conference play. Still plenty more to come. We'll wrap things up here from Kellenberg Memorial High School on the News 12 Varsity Game of the Week, brought to you by HSS, the #1 hospital for orthopedics with locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby.
Back here one final time on News 12 Varsity HSS Game of the Week, and what a game from senior A.J. Knight. Amanda Puglisi is standing by with him.
You always hear coaches talk about how important it is to control the game. Well, I think it's safe to say you guys did that, especially right out of the gate. How do you approach a game like this when you know it's your rivals?
Just play hard, stick to the game plan, and handle business, you know. Just play defense, score, and the rest will take care of itself.
Your coaching staff told us that in order for this game to go well for you guys, it came down to two things: your guard play and three-point shots. So for you personally, how do you prepare for something like this?
Just practice everything in the gym, same routine, shots up, floaters, layups, and just stick to the game plan as usual.
You talk a lot about game plan, but what was the defensive game plan? You limited Kellenberg to, some of it. They haven't scored only 28 points, 30 points all season long.
In practice, we just play hard, play defense, help, gap, 100 blitz, trap. Just play hard. The rest will take care of itself.
All right, AJ, congratulations. I think your teammates are waiting for you. All right, guys, back to you.
Well, he talks about the teamwork, Matt, and that's exactly what we saw. And that's what brings us to our News 12 Varsity play of the game, which had everybody, it seemed like, touching the basketball.
Yeah, we talked about it from the get-go. If there is ball movement for Holy Trinity, things are going well. The nice feed from Kalimian. Sixsmith on the finish. 4 out of the 5 guys on the floor touching the ball in transition to get that basket for Holy Trinity.
So the Titans hold Kellenberg to their season low in points. First time they were held under 40 this year, let alone 30. Now the final score, 58-28, Holy Trinity victorious here on the road as they come into Uniondale and upend the Firebirds. Many thanks to everybody involved in our News 12 Varsity Game of the Week. Of course, for Amanda Puglisi and Matt Shortis, I'm Dan Savarino. Also reminding you to tune into the shoot-around every Monday at 8 p.m. on Channel 61. This is the Game of the Week brought to you by HSS, the #1 hospital for orthopedics. And locations in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The best is now nearby. Have a great night and enjoy your Friday evening.